Hi, good evening. This is Hassan Dosani. I hope you guys are keeping well. First of all, again, apologies for a second day of technical hitches. So if you can hear me and see my screen, please can I have a yes? Very good. Let me just fix the question answer box. Very nice. All right, let's start. I hope that you guys were able to reflect upon our yesterday's class, and today is our day 2. So what's today's plan? Our today's plan is basically today from exam technique point of view. We will discuss the number of points and the length of your answer. Then we will talk about SFA, we will talk about SWOT and TOES model. And then today I want to give sufficient time for financial related questions. In my previous webinar, I felt that you guys were lacking financial expertise as well. So in this webinar, I thought to give almost a whole one day to finance related question, so that we do 2 questions properly. So at least being finance students, we can score high marks in a numerical question. So in that, we will be talking about financial projections, and the next topic would be financial ratio and analysis. So today I really want to polish you guys from a CFO point of view, how a CFO presents numbers to the board. And then on professional skills, we'll talk about 2 skills. One is skepticism skill and the other one is analysis skill. And format, we will talk about report format. How can you ask questions? For students who are today, who's its first webinar with me, again, I want all of you to ask as many questions as you want, but please don't ask silly questions. Okay, please ask questions which really are helpful to others. Secondly, your question should pertain to the topic or slide under discussion. Do not ask anything which is outside the topic of discussion, because I will not stop and answer something irrelevant. Otherwise, it will break the tempo. In the end, we will allocate 5-10 minutes for any kind of questions towards the last 10 minutes of the webinar. Okay. Again, I have a global SBL group. So if you want to be part of that global SBL group, can you kindly send a WhatsApp message on this number, and this guy will send you the link. Okay. Yesterday, the group suddenly became full, so we created another group. My apologies for any inconvenience. So you can again message on this number and you will be added to the latest group. Right, so today's exam technique. So one of the reasons why students fail in the eyes of the examiner, he feels that students, they don't write sufficient number of points. And obviously, just think that if you are an examiner and for a 20-mark question, the student just write 3 points, would you pass him? No, right? So number of points and length of your answer is directly related to the marks. How do we decide the number of points? So generally, 1 point carries 2 marks. So a well drafted, well explained point carries 2 marks. So if it is a 10-mark question, can anybody tell me how many number of points for a 10 marks question? 5 points. Very good. Very good. 5. Excellent. And if it is a 15 marks question, then how many number of points? 15 marks question. So we will divide by 2, right? That gives me 7.5. So minimum, ideally, like minimum 7 points, maximum 8 points, right? 7 to 8. Okay, depending on the availability. Excellent, guys. Excellent. Now the thing is, if you look at the question paper, all the questions, they carry 2 types of mark. One is technical marks and the other one is professional marks. So each and every question, they will carry some technical marks and some professional marks. There might be a very few exceptions, but by and large, all parts carry. So for example, if the technical marks is it's 8 marks, and for the same question, hang on, for the same question, the professional mark is 2 and technical is 8. So obviously total marks is 10. So when I say total marks, I mean that we add technical marks and professional marks for that particular question, correct? So when you divide by 2, always use total marks. The examiner and most of the teachers, they always say divide 2 by technical marks, but I disagree with them. I want you to divide 2 marks, like divide the total marks by 2. Why? Because always total marks will be more than technical marks. And if you divide total marks by 2, you will end up writing 1 extra point. And that extra point would act as a buffer. Okay, it might save you. So are we very clear? I will rub all this mess and I will just summarize that generally 1 point carries 2 marks. So what we need to do, how do we decide number of points? Total marks divide by 2. Simple. Total marks, okay? Now, we divided by 2 because generally 1 point carries 2 marks. But sometimes the examiner asks you to identify a weakness and give recommendation. You see, there's a question which will ask you to identify a weakness and then also you have to give recommendation. So I feel that these are 2 things. A, we need to identify the weakness and then after that we need to give some suggestions. So I feel, don't you guys think that 2 marks is less for a question which wants us to do both of these things? Right? So 2 marks is less. So a question which talks about identify weakness and give recommendation, then I would assume that it is 4 marks per point. So in this kind of a scenario, I would divide total marks divide by 4. Now let's take an example. So let's say if it is 16 marks in total, And the question says identify weaknesses and give recommendations. And believe me, this is a very common question in SBL every attempt. So how many weaknesses I need to talk about? If it's a 16 marks question and I need to talk about weakness plus recommendation, how many weaknesses should we talk about? Any idea? 4. Very good. You guys are great tonight. Excellent. So we will give 4 weaknesses, right? And along with the 4 weaknesses, there will be 4 recommendations, right? So that's for 16 marks. I will focus to identify 4 weaknesses. And then for each weakness, I would try and give a recommendation. So these are 2 marks individually, but in total, 1 weakness plus 1 recommendation collectively is 4 marks. Again, let me rub and tell you something else. There is another type of a question, just like this one. Sometimes the examiner says, identify risks and give recommendation. So again, I feel that, it's 2 marks is really less. So in such a question where we have been asked to identify risks and give recommendation, again, I will use 4 marks to decide the number of points. That's it. So if it is a normal question, I will follow 2 marks per point. But if it is a weakness recommendation question or a risk recommendation question, I will follow 4 marks per point. Very, very simple. It is very, very arithmetical. You need to plan this before you start drafting the answer so that you mentally know that how many points you have to give. Nothing less and nothing more. If you give less points than required, you will lose score, right? But if you give more points than required, you might get extra mark or 2, but you will eat up the time for the next question, and in the end you will run out of time and your paper will be incomplete. So please, a right number of points is the secret formula. Any questions? Sir, but in previous webinar you mentioned that it is worth 3 marks. Yes, Zamad. In previous webinar I mentioned 3 marks, but this time when I read the marking scheme and some examiner comments and my discussion with ACCA people, they are saying that it's now 4 marks. So better that we follow. Yes, before it was 3, but this time you divide by 4. Okay. Very good. Just that is why, always follow the latest webinar, because things do change, things do get upgraded. Rakib, please don't flood my question box by repeating your question. Rakib, please ask your question once. If it is relevant to the discussion, I will answer. Otherwise, I will answer in the last. Okay, please don't flood my question box. Thank you. Please, there is some house rules here. Right. So what should be the length of your answer? So this question was more applicable for manual students, right? But and CBE, it is difficult to judge the length of the answer because it is being typed and you don't really know. It depends on the font size, the magnifying view size of your screen, all those things. But the general approach is that your point should neither be too short nor it should be too long. So what I always emphasize, I always say that 1 point should be 1 para. Do you understand this thing? That one point should be one para. So if I am writing 5 points, ideally I should be writing 5 paragraphs. Do not try to squeeze more than 1 point in one para. One para means 1 point. If you want to talk about another point, then you start another para. Okay. So can I say what should be the size of the point, or what should be the size or length of the paragraph? Not too short, not too long. It is subjective, but I think that it should be not less than not less than 3 lines, and maximum 6 lines on your CBE Word document. Okay, so here I end my exam technique for today, which is deciding the number of points. Yes, you're right. So number of points depend on how wide your screen is. That is why the first approach is your paragraph should not be too short, nor it should be too long, but just to give you a rule of thumb, minimum 3 lines, maximum 6-7 lines. That's it. Admin, can you please update today's handout? Students are saying that it is yesterday's handout. Roughly 50 to 60 words for 1 point. Jerry, I have no idea about number of words. Please don't complicate your life. I don't know how many words in a line. I'm just talking about a standard line on a Word document, 3 to 6 lines. That's it. Okay, there are 2 handouts. Thank you, Pearl. Right, so there are 2 handouts. One was yesterday, and today the second one would be today's. All right. Okay, guys, so we are clear on the number of points. We divide total marks by 2, and in rare situations we divide total marks by 4. And regarding the paragraph, the size of your point or the size of your para should be ideally minimum 3 lines, maximum 6 lines. Now the biggest topic of SBL, SFA framework. SFA stands for suitability, feasibility, acceptability framework. Now this topic is perhaps the most important topic of SBL from exam point of view, because every alternate attempt a question is being asked on SFA, right? So what the first thing is, why is SFA used, when it is used, how does it help, like what does it help in? So SFA is a model which we use to analyze a proposed strategy. What it is used for? It is used to analyze proposed strategy. So if, remember, you are CFOs, okay? Now the company is thinking of doing something. It is one of the strategies. It is thinking of doing something. Can I shut down my WhatsApp if you don't mind, because it's kind of disturbing, making some noise. No, it's close. Where is the WhatsApp? All right, doesn't matter. So whenever a company is thinking of any future strategy, do you think the company needs to analyze or evaluate the strategy before they decide whether to go ahead or not? Obviously. So for example, if you have a job offer, so you will also think and analyze the pros and cons of that job offer, right? The location, the location of the company, the name of the company, the reputation of the company, the industry of the company, the role which you are being considered, the salary packages, working environment, culture, all those things, right? So similarly, when a company thinks of some future product, future planning, future strategies, they will also, or we will also, as CFO and the board, analyze, evaluate the proposal in order to arrive at an educated decision. So a helpful model is SFA. It is a model which we are using to analyze or evaluate a proposed strategy which is futuristic. But in exam point of view, in an exam situation, I never recommend SFA in all types of cases. I just recommend that in the exam we should only use SFA when the question talks about acquisition. So if the question is saying that our company is thinking of acquiring another company, acquiring is the keyword. So in that kind of a question, you should go ahead and apply SFA in your exam. Because SFA is a lengthy model, it's a time-consuming model. At least it should be 14-15 marks worth, then only you should do this model properly. So generally, when a question talks about acquisition, acquiring another company, then definitely go for SFA. But if the question is not about SFA and it just talks about some other proposed strategy like launching a new product or opening a new branch, this doesn't involve any acquisition, then please don't use SFA. You will actually get stuck in the middle of the question. Okay, so just don't use SFA for non-acquisition questions. Is this clear? So examples. The first example is evaluate the proposal of acquiring ABC company situated in XYZ country. Should we use SFA in this one? Yes or no? Very good, guys. Very nice. Yes, definitely. And why do we use SFA in this question? Because I saw the word acquiring or acquisition, anything on those lines, use SFA. What about another possible question? Evaluate the option of opening a new restaurant in another city. Think. It is also a proposed strategy, right? We are trying to expand, but we are opening a new restaurant in another city. We are not acquiring. We are just opening organically, like we are opening on our own. What do you think? Should we use SFA? Yes or no? Yes, I will suggest an alternate method. Yes. No, some people are saying yes, no. You should avoid using SFA. Ideally, yes, you can, but in my experience of exam conditions, I would say do not use SFA because it is not an acquisition question. There is a high chance that you might get stuck in your own trap by using a model. There is a high chance that the marks may be 8 marks, 10 marks, not really juicy enough to warrant or justify using SFA. What about the third example? Evaluate the proposal of adding a new product line to our existing products. Should we use SFA? Yes or no? No. Very good. Because I did not see the word acquisition. So please, it is a proposed strategy, but it is not about acquisition, so I'm not going to use it in my exam. Again, remember, I'm talking about your exam. So just use acquisition when you see, so just use SFA when you see a proper question talking about a proposed acquisition strategy. You have to see the word acquire or acquisition. So now the question is, if we don't use SFA for these two, then what do we do instead of SFA? Well, you can talk about the pros and cons, right? So for example, if I want to open a new restaurant in another city, there will be some pros, obviously. There will be some risk or downsides, cons. There will be some financial analysis. We will look at the NPV IRR, correct? We will need to look our own internal expertise, whether we have the manpower, the funds, and all those things, technology required. That's it. So here, I've given a list of, so it is not compulsory to use SFA. You can also use a general approach. And when you use a general approach, you can give these broad headings. You can talk about external factors, pros and cons, internal factors, pros and cons, and then you can talk about financial analysis if the data is given. Are you very clear on this? Right. So I have been doing SFA for last 3 webinars. I have done SFA extensively in my previous webinars because this particular topic is one of the most important from exam point of view. So I have been doing in every webinar. My first day always starts with SFA. So this time, I thought that I don't want to repeat stuff. So I just discussed the high level concept of SFA. I want you to watch June 2021 webinar day number 1 for question practice of SFA. Okay, please make a note of it. In September webinar, I want to take advantage and talk about other things instead of repeating stuff from previous webinars. So please, if you want to play safe, then SFA is a very, very important topic for this attempt. So kindly watch June 2021 day 1 webinar. All right. Any questions? Merger, acquisition, strategic alliance, no Laksh, just acquisition. Good question. Ashar is asking that if the question requires 4 points and we give 6 points, will we get extra marks or will it be not considered? Yes and no. I mean, if you look at the examiner's marking scheme, they always cap the number of points or cap the number of marks for each requirement. They can say that students may 2 marks for each point, maximum of 6 marks or maximum of 3 points. So there's always an upper capping on the number of points. So you can, if the question requires 4 points, you can go for 5. 1 extra point doesn't matter, but 6 or especially 7, 8 points, you will not get marks. Okay, no extra marks because there's a capping to the number of points. Please stick questions to SFA now. Can we use SFA for non-acquisition worth 20 marks? I mean, if you are very confident with SFA model, then go ahead and use it. But be very sure that you're able to identify the important components of SFA. Otherwise, if you feel that the case is complicated, SFA is not a mandatory model. It is nice to use. So if you're really confident, then use it. Otherwise, just use the general approach. Yes, Ahmed. All right. So I think I'm not getting questions regarding SFA. Was SFA tested in June 2021? No. SFA was not tested in June 2021. That is why I feel that in September it's an important topic. So please watch June 2021 day 1 webinar for SFA. Yes, correct, Yusuf. All right. Was it tested in March? I don't remember. I need to check. But I guess yes. All right. Let's move on. Another important topic is SWOT and TOES. Now, this is a topic which has not been tested in SBL so far. But in my professional teaching experience, I think that it is high time that this topic might be tested. Okay, and you know, this is not a difficult topic, so let's do it very quickly. So we all know SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Yeah, the word strengths and weaknesses are basically used for internal factors, and the word opportunities and threats are used for external factors. So issues which are internal to the company, we can either say it's a strength or a weakness, depending it's a pro or a con. And issues which are outside the company, which are beyond our direct control, are external factors, and hence we use the word opportunities and threats. So I'm very sure most of you are familiar with the concept of SWOT. So let me screen is stuck in SFA. I'm on SWOT right now. Your screen is not moving. Wait, guys, I will. It says the screen is stuck. Is it now okay? I'm just checking. No, okay. Let me give a 1 minute pause. And again share my screen. Is it visible now? SWOT. Very good. Excellent. Thank you guys for pointing this out. I hate this technology, but there are a lot of advantages as well, right? So can anybody tell me, is there something in life which has only advantages and no disadvantage? Right. Oh, love. Okay. All right. Okay. So, right. So now you are on SWOT. Okay. So I am just talk about some examples to see whether your concepts are okay. Highly motivated staff. What do you think? Highly motivated staff. Very nice. It's strength. Excellent, because it's an internal thing. Strength. Okay. Just write S. Okay. All right. Lazy, unskilled employees. Lazy or unskilled employees. Excellent accounting systems or excellent accounting software in the company. Very good. Opportunity? No, it's a strength because we're talking about our internal systems, accounting system, which is in use in the company. Very good. It's not an opportunity, it's an internal thing. I don't know why some people are saying opportunity. Guys, you have to think like a CFO, huh? No error, no room for error. It's an internal thing, accounting software. Okay. The company's website is awesome. Amazing website. It's my strength. It is my website. It's my baby. It's my wife, right? Strength. Outdated plant and machinery leading to very high maintenance costs. Very nice. You guys are good in strengths and weaknesses. Now let me test your skills on opportunities and threat. Cutthroat competition. Very good. Very nice. T. Yes, it's threat. More and more customers moving to online e-commerce platform. Very good. Opportunity. Excellent. Threat. Okay, it depends on the logic. I mean, more and more customers are moving towards online, so that's a good thing for we need to grab it, right? Yes. Yes. Right. Government providing grants and subsidies to promote business investment. Yes, very good. It's an opportunity because it is the government who is doing. It's not you, right? So it's an external opportunity. Right. Too much regulations causing compliance issues for the entire industry. Very good. Threat. It's mostly a threat because it is actually the laws, and laws are external. Very good. Okay, I think you are good. One last example just to confuse you guys. Okay. One last example just to confuse you guys. Let's see how good CFOs you are. The company is dependent on one supplier only. High dependency on one supplier. High dependency on one supplier. So now I'm getting mix of replies. Some students are saying weaknesses, some are saying threats, some are saying W plus T. Okay, very diplomatic. Yes, it now depends. So those of you who think it's a weakness, those of you who said it's a weakness, can you please type your logic? Why do you think, why did you say it's a weakness? Because marks is based on logics in SBL. So high dependence on one supplier, why do you think it's a weakness and not a threat? Give me a logic. So supplier, just students who or CFOs, sorry, those CFOs who thought it's a weakness, please write the reason. Okay. And those CFOs who thought that it is a threat, please can you explain why you said it's a threat? Yes, very good. So actually, SBL is like this, that the examiner will ask a question which may have two possible answers. In this case, If I say high dependency on one supplier, it could be seen as a weakness and it can also be seen as a threat. Now it depends how you explain the point. Your logic should be correct. So if the case says there is high dependency on one supplier because there is only one supplier available in the market, then what do you think it is? A weakness or a threat? Very good. Then in this case, it's a threat because the company doesn't have options. There's a monopolistic situation, and hence we have to live with this. Very good. Okay. So can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, hear me now? I just got back. Yeah, okay. Right. So if there are several suppliers in the market and yet we are dependent on one supplier only, then this is a weakness. Correct? Very good. So I'm glad that your concept of strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat is perfect. Full marks to this batch of CFOs. Now, my next question. Do you think it is important to do a SWOT analysis? Like all companies, do they need to do a SWOT analysis or it is just a sexy, fancy thing to do? Yes, all organizations, we have always been told right from the day we were born that SWOT is very important. SWOT is every organization, they look at their strength, they look at their weakness, opportunities, threats at least once a year or something, or when they're making their strategies. Yeah. So the question is, if SWOT is so important, so then why is it important? What do we do once we do our SWOT? What do we do once we do a SWOT? So if I know my strengths and weakness and ops and threats, what am I supposed to do? Yes. So people are saying so that you can take advantage of the opportunities. You can use your strengths to take advantages of the opportunities. You try and remove your weaknesses to take advantage of opportunities. For threats, you try and protect yourself against threats. So that is why, yes, excellent. You guys are bang on. So that is the next thing. It is called TOES. Okay, TOES matrix. TOES stands for threat, opportunity, weakness, and SWOT matrix. So on the x-axis, there's a strength, there's a weakness. On the y-axis, opportunity and threat. So this box is SO, WOST, Is this clear, right? So SO means what? SO means that we use our strength to avail opportunities. This is the theoretical side. So the main thing is that why do we do SWOT? We do SWOT so that we can come up with future strategies, right? If the company is making some future plans, it is planning its next 3 years, 5 years, to make strategies for next 5 years, starting point will be a SWOT analysis. As a director, I need to know what are the strength, weakness, opportunity, threat of my company. And then based on that, the whole board will do brainstorming. We will talk about and we will try to link our strengths to our opportunities and whatnot to come up with strategies. For example, I will just give you a very short, small example that there is one opportunity in the market which says growing demand for online stuff. Okay, growing demand for online commerce or transactions. And in one of my strength is one of my weaknesses, outdated or old looking website. Right now, what do you suggest? If I have a weakness which says my website is lousy, and on the other hand, there's an opportunity which is saying growing demand for online stuff, what would you suggest to this company? Forget about WO. What would you, don't tell me models, just tell me what do you suggest? What strategy would you tell them? Give me one sentence. Please type what strategy you would suggest. I'm not getting your messages, I think. Yeah. Okay. So what I would suggest to this, if this is my company, if I'm sitting on the board, I would say, listen, guys, there's a big opportunity. People are moving towards online. The customers prefer online. It is COVID-19 and this and that. And on other hand, we know that our website is lousy. So before we talk about anything else, first and foremost, we should, really upgrade our website. So that would be a proper strategy. The IT director, we would all look to her and we will say, hello, Miss Lady IT director, you need to do some work and upgrade the website. As simple as that. So the purpose of SWOT is the companies can come up with strategies for future. Again, this topic has not been tested as yet, and I actually did one question on SWOT and TOES in my June webinar. So please make sure that you do this topic. You need to watch June 2021 webinar, but day number 2 for SWOT. Okay, SWOT and TOES. There's a proper question I did on SWOT and TOES. So is that okay? Let me look at questions. All right. So this will be your homework, that you will look at SFA from day 1 and SWOT and TOES from day 2 of June webinar. This is how we can, do a maximum coverage of your syllabus. Right. Any specific situation when we use SWOT? No, in a SWOT question, the examiner will be a bit direct. He will just say analyze the SWOT analysis. Okay, so then I think SWOT questions are pretty direct. There are not situation-based things. How do we get the past webinars? They are all in my WhatsApp group. Okay, if in my WhatsApp group there is a Google folder. The link is there for my the link of my Google folder is there, and you can easily access all the previous webinars, the handouts, the notes, everything. Okay, right. Let's move on. This one is important. I want to spend time on finance related questions today. So there are two types of questions in you may expect in SBL. There are two types of possible questions on numbers. One will be futuristic, like a financial projection, in which you will be given year 0, year 1, year 2, all those NPV related stuff, and you will be asked to evaluate or analyze the projections. The other type of question is you will be given a P&L and a balance sheet or some KPIs, and you will be asked to evaluate the performance of that company. That is historic, right? Balance sheets are historic and projections are futuristic. So these are two types of potential questions which can normally be asked in SBL. So now I'm first going to talk about financial projections. So let me hide this. Okay, I'll just show the heading, financial projections. So do you guys know that as a CFO, I spent a lot of time making or reviewing financial projections? Because the board is very interested in futuristic things because they want to grow the company. They have a target to achieve. So whenever we analyze a proposed strategy like open a new restaurant or acquire a new company or open a new branch or add a new product, then we have to look at the pros and cons, yes, but we also need to do a financial analysis of the proposed strategy. So that's financial projections. So a lot of my time goes into reviewing financial projections. I don't make them. I have got like 4 or 5 chartered accountants under me who make these projections, and me as a CFO, I review the projections. It is a very, very important component of my job and of a very important skill to have when you become a CFO. Okay, financial projections. Now I have a question. Do you think that if there is an error on the financial projections, would that have a serious consequence? If there is an error or something is missed out from the projections, would that have a serious consequence? Absolutely yes. And why will it have a serious consequence? Because our decision was based on the projections, right? So the projections which I make is presented to the board. The board looks at the projections. They will look at the NPV, payback, IRR, and they will say, okay, Mr. CFO, I think this makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead. And then later on, I found out that we forgot to add or subtract something important, and the actuals are way different than what we were thinking. I will lose my job, right? Right? Yes. So financial projections is something very, very critical. Now, it is always based on assumptions. Do you know that? Financial projections are always based on assumptions. Why? Why is a financial projection based on assumptions? Because it is very good. Because it is futuristic. That is why it's called projections, right? We don't really know, but we are trying our best. So when we talk about future, we take assumptions because it's a forecast. Good word. It is subjective. Very good. So you guys are really enjoying, I think. Now, if your assumption is stupid, that will directly affect the numbers, right? If your assumption is stupid, that will directly affect the projections, and then the decision will be faulty and the company will be screwed and I will lose my job. Very good. So it is very, very important that the projections are as humanly accurate or close to actual as possible. So now, in your exam of SBL, you will not be asked in SBL to prepare a NPV or make a projections. You are a CFO. CFOs don't prepare NPVs and IRRs. You will be given a projection which has been prepared by a dumbass, and you will be asked to review and analyze the projections. Do you think you would be able to review it? Are you fit or not? Can you review a projection prepared by someone else and identify a weakness? Would you be able to do that? Yes, very good. So basically what we do is we just look at some basic things like what I do when I look at projections. I will share my secret checklist. As I said, I look at a lot of projections. So I have my own checklist as a CFO, what I need to look for. The first thing I will always look is I will make sure that the projections are based on discounted cash flows. There is no concept of anything other than discounted cash flow. It has to be using the method of discounting cash flow, and the discount rate should be a sensible discount rate, right? The second thing is I would always like to look at the payback period. I would like to calculate and see whether the payback is acceptable or not. Now, payback can be a simple payback, which is before discounted cash flows, or it could be post discounted payback. Doesn't matter, but payback will tell you the number of years. Thirdly, I would review the assumptions. So, those dumb ass people who made the projections, they need to tell me all the assumptions, and I will go through all the assumptions to make sure that there is no stupid assumption, because a wrong assumption will directly affect the projections. And I would then also, I would check the assumptions. I would make sure that tax implications have been considered, if any. Most people, they forget to talk about tax implications. If I want to see the ultimate profitability, I need to consider corporate taxes. And I would also like to do a sensitivity analysis, which is something like, I think you know what a sensitivity analysis is. That what if the revenue numbers are down by 20%? How does it affect the bottom line? What if the costs go up by overrun by 20%? How does it impact the profitability? I ask these kind of questions to see how sensitive the data is. So please remember these 5 things, okay? Do I have any questions on financial projections? Very good. Yes, my screen is stopped frozen because I'm not moving it. I'm talking about the slide in discussion. Can we include IRR? Include means what? From where will you get IRR? You plan to calculate it. Let's clarify on a sensible discount rate. I don't know. It's very subjective. I'm just going through some questions. How to calculate payback, Priya? I think you are in the wrong course if you don't know how to calculate payback. Somebody may ask that question in the group, WhatsApp group, and somebody will help you. Do you mean to say we don't have to do any further calculations? Absolutely, that's exactly. SBL is not about calculations, my friend. It is about analysis and thinking. Like a direct. Do you think a director does a calculation? Idiot. I always said yesterday, think like a director, think like a CFO. You expect a director to do calculations. Wow, wow, wow. You think I earn like $20,000 for doing calculations every month? Nobody's gonna pay me $20,000 just to calculate, right? No, seriously, you will get 20,000 if you are a sensible CFO. No big deal. All right, guys. Now, next thing, and we will do our financial projection questions in tonight. I want to make sure that you guys are really good in financial questions, because that's where you can score extra marks, because finance should be your strong foot, right? Now, a report format, it's very similar to the one we did yesterday. Yesterday we talked about briefing paper. Today we'll talk about report. There is a to, there's a from, there's a subject, there's a date, there's a proper heading called introduction. So in briefing note, you might not give a heading of introduction, but in report, you have to give a proper heading called introduction. So this is where it is a report. There's an extra thing here, introduction. And then there will be a usual opening sentence that this report talks about the acquisition of blah, 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 blah. Then there'll be the body of your answer, like 2, 3, 5, 10 paragraphs, depending on the marks. In the end, you will close your report by sincerely and your own. Very similar. Conclusion or recommendation is not required unless specifically asked in the question. Okay. So again, it's 90%. This format is same like a briefing paper. Can I ask one question here, please? So if this report and a briefing note or a briefing paper is so similar, then what exactly is the difference? Why the concept of a briefing paper versus a report? What is actually the difference between a report and a briefing paper when everything is the same? Good try. Well done. You know, a briefing paper, as the name says, has to be brief. Whereas a report is a proper report in which details are there. It provides good analysis. And a briefing paper, the purpose of a briefing paper is not to analyze like in full detail, but just to brief the person, brief the reader about something. So the drafting style or the presentation style of a briefing paper would be small, short points with headings. Whereas in a report, you might have a little bit lengthy paragraph, not a lot, but a little bit lengthy paragraph, less headings, broad headings. But in a briefing paper, it has to be short, crisp, so that the person who wants to be briefed knows all the points in a short and crisp manner. All right. Any questions on the report format? In report will provide answer on your calculation based. Is the report heading important? Very important. I explained this yesterday as well. All right, move on. Today we will talk about two professional skills. There's one here. Where is the other one? Anyways, skepticism skill. Usman, do you know what is skepticism skill? No? Can anybody tell me the meaning of the word skepticism? Please. Just the English meaning of the word skepticism. Skepticism means what? Critical analysis of something. Oh, that's difficult, yeah. Skepticism means what? My chat question box is hanging a bit. So please tell me what the word skepticism means. I know you are writing, but I'm not, my box is not getting updated. You know, for me, the easy way to remember the skepticism means having a questioning mind. Skepticism means that you are not idiot. You have a questioning mind. Okay, you challenge what you are being told. So when when I come really late from my office, like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the night, when I come really late, my wife asks me, where are you coming from? And I tell her I'm coming from my office. And she looks at me from my head to my toe and she says, oh, really? I don't think so. And I said, I swear you can call here, call my colleague, or you can tell. I try to justify or explain or prove that I was actually coming from my office. So now who has a questioning mind here, me or her? Yes. That's skepticism skill. Now will you remember what this means? So now me as a CFO, when young chaps, they come to me with stories, I don't take bullshits. How would I know whether that guy knows what he's saying? I will ask counter questions, right? And I will know whether that guy knows what he's saying. Exactly. So a skepticism skill means that you are not idiot. Whenever someone talks to you, you try and validate. You can ask counter questions. You can disagree with proper facts and figures. Very good. So this skepticism skill, when the question says skepticism skills, you have to adopt a negative tone when you are drafting. That's how you will score marks. When you When the question says demonstrate skepticism skill, make sure that you ask couple of questions in your answer. I want to see at least 2 or 3 question mark, because we all know that skepticism means questioning mindset. So when you are drafting your answer, you can ask questions, or you can disagree. You will say I disagree, or it seems incorrect, and this is, this needs further investigation, and what is the basis of this assumption. Just try and put couple of questions. Is that clear? You just need to change the way you draft. Yeah, I'll just give a break. Give me 5 minutes. Okay. And I saw in the start that there was another skill. There was another skill which was supposed to be talked about. Yeah, analysis skills. Yes, please. What is analysis skills? I'll just explain, because in today's question, we will be, encountering skepticism skills, and the second one, I'll just make it analysis skills. Okay. Analysis skills means, it's very simple, that you investigate. You investigate the reasons. So if something is happening, for example, the company's revenue suddenly declined. The company's revenue suddenly declined by 20%. Don't you think the board will ask what's happening, why the revenue has declined, right? The board should know the reasons. What is the reason? So as a CFO, you need to investigate all the variances, all the financial movements, and identify the business reasons behind those numbers to justify those things. So you as a CFO will investigate. So I will investigate why this revenue has gone down. Is it because of volume? Is it because of, and if it is because of volume, if my quantities has gone down, why? Is it because some competitor is snatching away my students, or is it because of quality issues, or is it because of COVID-19? I will try and reach the root cause. Okay, so analysis skills is simply identifying the reasons or the root cause of what's happening, like why it is happening. And from where you will find the reasons, it will be given to you in the exhibits. So if you are given a financial statement, so you can look at the variances and you will explain or justify the variances through business drivers, business KPIs. That's analysis skills, that you investigate the reasons and try to find out the root cause of the problems. Any questions on analysis skills? All right, so let's take a break now. Is it, what time is it? We started at 8:30, no, 8:30, 9:30, 10, 10, 10. Guys, I think we still have got 15 more minutes, right? Because I give a break right in between. So do you want to do a very small question and then we take a break? Can we have 15 more minutes before the break? Because then in second half would be a bit heavier then. Yes, I think I've got like 10-15 minutes. Right. Sir, please answer my question. This is Sayyada. Where is your question? Because the question box is moving very fast. I'm just going through the questions. Give me a minute. Can we write the answer in first person while drafting answer using skepticism skill? We'll see on a case-to-case basis. Depends on the situation. Two skills can be in a question, yes. Not officially. The question will just talk about one skill. Yes, you can ask a question, but related to what we discussed right now. Okay. All right. So let's move to the question. Sir, analysis skills can come to see impact of AI introduced. I don't know. Should we compare the financial information given with competitors to show analysis skills? Yes. Anything where you explain the reasons is analysis skills, but the question will tell you. All right, so let's look at the question now. Let's look at the question. Let's look at a question. It's a very nice question on financial projections. Let's finish it in 10 minutes and then we'll go for a break. It is SBL actual paper, March, June 2019. It's called Smartware. And we will be doing question number 4B. So I will open up the CBE platform, practice exam number 3. Okay, so where is that stupid CBE platform? Where is that girl? Yeah, this one. Oh, I found the WhatsApp. Let me close that WhatsApp. Well, I'll just, mute. Okay, later. Okay, so this is the girl in your testing platform, but why she's lazy? Let me refresh her. It's kind of stuck. Why is it not opening? Okay, I'm closing it and again. Ah, here she is. Strategic business leader, official resources, practice exam. I think it was 3. It was practice exam 3, resume. Question number 4B. So I'll read the question first. I'll go down to the tasks. This is the task. 4B. It says write a report on behalf of the sales and marketing director for presentation to the board which achieves both the following. A, it describes the benefits of introducing a customer database management system, and B, evaluate the marketing department's NPV analysis that supports the CDMS investments, questioning any underlying assumptions made. Questioning. Professional skills marks are available for displaying. skepticism about the cash flow forecast used to support the proposal. So can anybody tell me what should be the tone of your drafting? A friendly tone, a flirty tone, or a questioning tone? We need to ask at least a couple of questions when we are drafting the accounts if you wanna earn professional marks. Right. So we need to, it says evaluate the marketing department's NPV analysis. So it is 10 marks technical and 2 marks professional. So what is total marks? 10 plus 2, it's 12 marks. So question number 4B is worth 12 marks. Can anybody tell me the number of points I need to talk about for 12 marks? Straight question, and I want a straight answer. Very good, 6 points. 6 minimum? Who said 6 minimum? Why do you say 6 minimum? And why do you say 6 to 7? I don't know what people are doing here. Is exactly try to go for 6. Don't be generous with number of points. You will spoil your time management. Right. So we all know that this is required. So do you want to see the analysis? So it is somewhere. Let me copy the requirement. Control C. I open my worksheet and I want to make the report first. Oh, I make a report. It is to the board of directors from whom it was mentioned somewhere in the question, right? Behalf of sales and marketing director. Control C. I go here. Control and I paste. Sales and marketing director. Subject would be again this. If you see the report, wants you to talk about both part A and part B, right? So benefits of CDMS, control C, or I will just say customer data management system and NPV analysis. Date is fine, and I would say this, there will be a heading called introduction here. I will bold, I will give the thing heading 3, and I will say this report I will delete this and I will copy from here. Describes the benefits of introducing, control C, I will go here, I will paste it, and again I'll go back to the requirement, evaluates the NPV analysis. Full stop. What am I typing? So I will just delete all this. So my template is now ready. Now I will go read, and this is exhibit 7. Ouch, this is an Excel. I open financial investment. You see, this exhibit is given to you in Excel. All right. Can you guys see? So now I want you to recall the projections checklist. So what is it here? Is it based its timeline? and year 0, year 1. So kindly year 0, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it says investment in CDMS technology and operating costs are negative from year 1, additional contributions are profits in year 1 to year 5, interest payable on loan, net cash flow, and then corporate tax at 30%, post-tax net cash flow, discount factor at 10%, and then present value of net cash flows and net present value is 7. Positive. Very nice. And then there are certain notes here. So you see they are in reference to the notes. These are notes 1, notes 2, and the notes are explained here. So note 1 about 38 million, it says that this amount is basically initial capital outlay, sales tax on the purchase price recoverable through the Noria tax authorities, installation and system testing cost, staff training cost, and 5-year maintenance and support contract with the supplier. And what is 2? Additional contribution 22, 22, 22, 22. It is estimated that CDMS will directly generate additional contribution from new and retained customers. 3 is interest payable on loan. A new 38 million loan will be taken out to finance the project with interest payable at 8%. And note number 4 is discount factor. A smartware weighted average cost of capital at 10% is used. So this is a sheet which has been provided to you. Now think like a CFO. So if this is given to me, I will ask a lot of questions because I can see some discrepancies. I can feel that the assumptions are not strong enough or reliable enough. I need some clarifications. Do you have any questions? Do you see any? So let's start with the first one. The first item on my checklist is to make sure that all the projections is based on discounted cash flow, and the discount rate is sensible. So is this based on discounted cash flow? Yeah, I can see a discount factor of 10%. I can see NPV, and it says that the 10% discount factor is basically the weighted average cost of capital. I think it looks okay to me. 10% sounds good. The basis sounds good. So if it's okay, so I will just write as an opening thing, a positive thing, that the net present value of this proposal is how much? 7 million. Is there any currency? Yeah, $7 million. Positive, using a discount rate of 10%, which is based on weighted average cost of capital. Done. However, these projections are based on certain assumptions, and I have the following questions and thoughts or comments about the calculations. This is how you will start. Any problem? Very simple. Huh? I'm just starting with a nice tone that okay, the positive NPV is positive, it looks okay, but I have got some questions. Now let's go back. Any questions with this 38 million? Does anything rings come in your mind? So what is this 38 million? So this guy is explained in the notes. So these are the stuff which is included in 38 million. It talks about initial capital outlay. It includes the sales tax on purchase price recoverable through the authorities. Installation and systems makes sense. Staff training makes sense. And it includes 5-year maintenance and support contract with the supplier. I can think of at least 2 or 3 questions here. What about you guys? Let me see your comments. Any sales tax recoverable? Very good. What else? 5-year maintenance. So what's the question here? So I will just draft the questions. I will just say, where's my word processor? Number 1, sales tax recoverable. The, what is it called? Okay, here. Let me just resize my window. It is kind of giving me a problem. I will take it here and I will take it here. What is it called? Investment in CDMS, the initial, the, okay. I will say sales tax. The initial outlay includes sales tax which is recoverable from tax authorities. This amount, what ideally I would say this amount needs to be shown as inflow in the year in which it is expected. But because there's a skepticism skill, can we ask a question? Can we draft using a question here? Can you draft something in which we can use a question mark? Question mark, something which uses, so I will say this is addressed to whom? The board. Ouch. It's addressed to the board. I better be careful. So, I think this needs to be, I think this this has not been, I'm negative tone, considered. I think the recovery amount has not been considered in the respective year. That's it. Another issue, what could be that? The maintenance, 5-year maintenance. The projections, let's copy from here. The initial outlay includes 5-year maintenance, which is paid in year 0. I think it is inappropriate, as maintenance are usually paid on annual basis. We will need to relook at the supplier contract. That's it. Why did I use the word we? I said we will need to look. We, not you. Why did I use the word we? Very good. Screen is frozen. Okay. I will just reshare. So we will use the word we because I am an insider. I'm the sales director, right? Now can you see the screen? But what's the biggest issue with this calculations? What about this biggest amount, 22 million? Anything wrong with this? This is note number 2. It says it is the estimated that CDMS will directly generate additional contribution from new and retained customers. So this is actually the profit or the return from this product, 22 million each year. Do you have any questions which comes to your mind? If you are the CFO, 22 million, not inflated. What do you mean by not inflated? It is constant. That's a good one. The screen is shared now. Kiran, why are you putting question marks? Okay, now it's the screen is there. All right, good. So what's wrong with this 22 million? The first thing which strikes to me is why the hell it is constant each year? You think revenues can be constant each year? No way. How can it be constant? It is shouting at me that something is wrong in this assumption. And do you think in year one, it will be in the first year, it will directly be 22 million? Normally, a new product, it starts slowly, right? It slowly builds up revenue as it grows along. It cannot be 22 million from day one and it remains at 22 million on year 5, right? So can we talk about this? I will just draft this one and then we can verbally discuss the rest of the points. So the third point is, what is it called? Additional contribution. Additional contribution. The additional contribution amount doesn't look reasonable. There are several questions coming to my mind. For example, the amount is fixed / constant throughout the 5 years. This seems highly unrealistic. For a new product, the contribution will be lower in initial years and then it will increase as time passes. And where did we get this 22? What is the basis of 22 million? Why is it not 32 or 12? Why 22? So I would like to ask, what is the basis of calculating 22 million? Question. Do you understand? This is very, very simple drafting. You are just supposed to ask questions. How many question marks? I put one question mark. I use the word, it's coming, questions are coming to my mind. I said it is incorrect, doesn't seem right. These are the key words. So again, I will raise a finger here. Interest payable on loan. Do you think interest payable on loan should be coming here? When we are using a discount rate based on weighted average cost of capital, then do you think that also putting interest payable on loan separately, is that a correct treatment? It is, duplicating, right? No, exactly. The interest on the loan is basically a financing cost of funds that should be taken care of in the discount rate. Very good. So again, all we need to do is identify how many weaknesses. Can you remind me how many points we need to identify here? How many points are required? Please remind me. Oh, this is such a lousy software. It's hanging. I'm not getting your questions. Is it lousy internet or lousy software? I hate it. All right. So I think it was 12 marks, right? So we need 6 points. So yes, can come up with 6 points. The whole thing is I just want to show you how are we going to draft, how you going to present. That's very important. How you going to link. That's very important. Okay. So does it look nice to you? Again, I will show you how it looks to the examiner. It looks like this. Report. It says report. And it says a board of director. There's an introduction. There's a broad heading called NPV, and there's an opening paragraph, and then 1, 2, 3, 2 points under 3, and then so total 4 points there. And I can think of 2 more points. And nice, good-looking answer for 12 marks. And what I'll do is I will just select all this. You remember the importance of beautification. It just takes 5 seconds extra, but it might get you 2 or 3 marks extra, which is completely worth it. All right, so here I think we should take a break, and I hope that now you are familiar and comfortable with this point. So you can solve this question as a homework, but please focus more on the approach, the drafting, the concept, rather than getting stuck into tactical things. Right? So let's take a break. And I think, let me look at the time. So it's kind of, no, where is my sheet? Yeah, here. So let me write the time here. It's a break. It's like 10:27. Let's say 10:30 to 10:40. Okay. So 10:40, you must be back. See you in a bit, guys. All right, guys, are you back? Are you able to hear me and see the screen? Please, can I have a yes if you're able to hear me and see the screen? I'm not getting any responses. Maybe my question box is stuck. Yeah, now it's working again, but I just see very few yes. Are you guys back? I need at least 30-40 yes. I just got 3 yes. Oh, excellent. Okay, so I'm just starting now. I'm just fixing my screen. Give me a sec. Yes, okay. Now let's move on to the last portion of our thing. So we are very clear. Are you guys good on financial projections? You need to remember the checklist and you need to just identify some gaps, some, you need to challenge the assumptions, and you can score good marks in this kind of questions. Okay, it is a gold mine from an exam point of view. Another thing is a financial ratios or financial analysis in which you will be given a P&L or balance sheet, some stats, and you will be asked to analyze the performance. Again, this is simply relatively straightforward from an SBL point of view. So first of all, we will always look at the P&L. I always, as a CFO, the first thing I look is P&L. After that, I look at balance sheet. And in P&L, my favorite area is revenue. And it's not only my favorite area, the entire board of directors, they are very, very focused on sales or revenue numbers because, as I said yesterday, the revenue is the bloodline of any organization. All the targets are based on sales. Your profitability depends on sales. So always when I start looking at the performance of any business, I first analyze the revenues in great detail. I want to see how the revenue trend is going from year on year, all those things. And then you just look at the gross profit margin percentage, whether it is constant, whether it is improving over the years or it is deteriorating. Then you can look at net profit margin percentage, and then you can look at ROS. These are the 4 basic things you look for a P&L. But please, you need to give reasons for variances. In SBL, there is no concept of just calculating and giving numbers. As in SBL, just mentioning numbers or ratios is not enough. You need to explain the reasons, the variances to the board of directors. Because remember, the board of directors are non-financial people. So you need to explain to them. You need to explain or investigate the reasons, giving them the business insight, the business drivers, the business reasons impacting the numbers. And you remember the professional skills or analysis skills, that's the one. Do you know why gross profit margin deteriorates? What is the most common reason why GP margin deteriorates? It's simple. that the cost of sales are not moving in the same proportion as the sales. That is why it affects the gross profit margin percentage. Similarly, do you know the reason why net profit margin percentage varies? Because your overheads are not moving in line with sales. And we all know ROS, right? On the balance sheet, we will talk about current asset ratio. Another examiner favorite is gearing and interest cover optional. So these are the few basic ratios, and on the non-financial side, you can do any kind of an efficiency or a non-financial ratio. The most easiest and the most common is revenue per employee. Please look at this one. No need to show calculations in SBL. In other papers, yes, it's very important, but in SBL, no need to show calculations. Would you show calculations to the board of directors? No, right? You will just calculate on Excel or on your calculator, and you just write the numbers, the variances, the percentages in your explanations. That's it. Any questions, please? Before I start the question, let me go to the question box. All right, so I think there is no question, okay? Or maybe the chat box is not working. Yeah, I think the chat box is not working. The screen is moving. Yeah, now will I be penalized by wrong calculations? Little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yes, I acknowledge testing. Operating costs. Please do a question. Yeah, that's what. Let's do a question now. And here is the analysis skills. Oh, okay, here. But we talked about it, right? Analysis skills means that we investigate the reasons for variances. We support our answers by facts provided in the case study. So now next question is basically a September-December paper 2020. It's called BCO. Question number 1B. So for that, we will open up the CBE platform. We will go to past exam library December 2020 and read exhibit 2 and 4. BCO. So I'll go to my sheet, the testing, and I already have opened it up. So let's look at the financial activity. Yeah, this one. Oh, it's in Excel. Oh, the summary of financial activities. This exhibit is in Excel, and I don't think I can make any change because the cells are locked. So let me look very carefully. Yeah? So this is the whole exhibit. I'll show you. The summary of financial activities year ended 30th April. The two columns are 20x1 and 20x0. So it's a comparison of current year with last year. There's income. This is all income, total income, and then expenditure, commercial activities, total expenditure, and net income. Whoa, so their net income has gone down, and then there are some statistics given like number of paid staff, number of volunteers, key KPIs like number of visitors and income per visitor and cost of training. Okay, so it's like looks like a P&L and some KPIs. Where is the requirement? Let's read the requirement first. Question number 1B. It says prepare a briefing note for the CFO, which A da 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 and B. This is the part we're gonna do. B is analyzes the financial and non-financial performance of BCO in the latest financial year 2021, providing reasons for and implications of the results. So providing reasons for the results and implications for the result, 13 marks. And professional skills marks are available for demonstrating analysis skills in considering the relevant information and evidence relating to BCO's financial and non-financial performance. Straightforward, that analysis skill means that we need to analyze the performance, providing reasons. From where we will find the reasons? From the exhibits. So as long as you are able to identify the reasons from the exhibit, you will get professional marks, right? Now the difficult part, 13 marks is technical and 3 marks is professional. So 13 plus 3, 16 marks. So that's pretty heavy duty. 16 mark question, anything like 14, 15 marks and above is heavy duty. So I have a little bit of doubt. Normally we follow 2 marks for 1 point, right? But here the examiner wants us to analyze the performance, providing reasons and implications. So I think it would be safe if we assume 3 marks per point, because we will be first identifying the variances, then we will be explaining the reasons, and if possible, we will be talking about the impact of that on the organization. So do you think, is it okay if I use 3 marks as an exception? Because I feel that it's just not variances, it is something more. And overall, it is also a 16 marks question. Again, this is a, I don't know why the question box hangs. Okay. Because, 4 is a bit higher, but let's say 3. So 16 marks, if I pick up my calculator, 16 divided by 3, I need to come up with 5.3 points. 5.3 means at least 5, minimum 5, ideally 6 points. I think 6 is okay, right? All right. So I'm not going to do the format now because we've done the format before. Again, you need to remember that this briefing note, it's a briefing note. So my drafting would be, smaller paragraphs with headings, and the briefing note covers both A and B. So we will do the usual format which I had shown you earlier today as well as yesterday. So let's close the requirements and let's look at the numbers. So if I want to calculate variances, I cannot calculate here because this exhibit is locked. So one option is I can copy paste the entire stuff. Just look very carefully. I'll copy this thing. No, from here, summary. I copy the entire Excel thing. I select it. I do Control C and I open a spreadsheet. I open a spreadsheet Okay, and I go here and paste it, Control V. So I pasted the entire thing here, but some stuff are hanging. I just increase the column width of this. To people who don't know Excel, you might need to be a little bit more easy on this, huh? You need to practice a little bit. I just brought this into Excel so that I can quickly calculate the variances. I'm not gonna solve this on Excel. Trust. Hello, testing one, two, three. Testing on sound testing one, two, three. हाँ आ रही है? अच्छा अब मैं स्क्रीन शेयरिंग कर रहा हूँ, बच्चों से पूछता हूँ. Hi guys, I'm very sorry I'm back. Are you guys able to hear me and see the screen? Please can you type yes? Okay, very good. Good. I'm just setting up some stuff because I logged out and logged in again. So give me 1 minute so that I can fix my question box so that I can take questions. Okay. All right. So where is my screen? Here. So the last was that I copied the data from the exhibit on my Excel spreadsheet and I put a formula to calculate the variances. Here they are. But in the exam, if you are good in Excel, you can do that to save time to calculate variances. Otherwise, you can simply calculate variances by using your calculator. Right? I'm not going to use Excel for my answer. I will use Word for my answer. Right. So, as I was saying, there are so many revenue items, there are so many expense items, and quite a few KPIs. How many reasons are we supposed to talk about? How many reasons or points are we supposed to give? Can anybody remind me? Did we agree on something? Many points I'm just stuck. Okay, I will repeat it. Don't worry. I will repeat everything. Okay. All right, so we were at this question, requirement question number, and if you open the exam, if you see the you cannot do. So if you calculate the, then I will go down. So we'll open the spreadsheet and I will paste the information here. Okay, and here you go. So the entire data is with me on my Excel. So the reason why I used Excel was I just wanted to quickly calculate the variances to save time. If you are good in Excel, you can use Excel to calculate variances. If you are not good in Excel, forget about Excel and then you can use your calculators to calculate the variances. Okay. So how can I calculate variance? I'll put a formula is equal to current year minus last year. And how do I calculate percentage is equal to amount divided here. This okay, so did you get it? Oops, what's happening? The formula was not being copied. It was you see the problem with Excel, so you better be good. Otherwise, uh, you can use your calculator to. I'm just copying the formulas. Okay, so I just calculated all the variances on Excel to save time. Just let me look at the question box again, whether I'm getting questions or not. You guys are okay? So guys, forget about, if you don't know Excel, then forget about it because I will not use Excel in my answer. Okay, I'm just using it to speed up my calculations. So don't worry about it. But the main thing is how many points or how many points are we supposed to write for 16 marks? I think 6. We decided for 6 points. So if you look at this, there are so many items like in revenue, there are so many items. In costs, there are so many line items. In non-financial, there are so many items. I cannot explain each and everything, okay? So I need to choose the top 6 points, which I will cover in my answer. So tell me, guys, the board will be interested in which top 6 variances, the smallest one, the largest one, or all of them from revenue, or what do you think? How can you prioritize? How can you pick up 6 out of so many points? Largest to smallest, very good. Not revenue, okay. So if I talk about, if my all my points are about revenue, then who will talk about costs and non-financials? You see, so you have to do a balanced thing. So in revenue, which one are the bigger ones? Can you tell me the bigger amounts, the bigger variances? So the total revenue has just moved very, very slightly, right? Total revenue has just moved by 71,000. So there's no change in bottom line. But if you look at the variances, which one is the biggest variance? Whoa, this one, huh? This one is quite big because it is a huge variance. What about this one? I think this one is also very big in terms of amount. 752 variance is quite big. Hmm. Okay, so others are smaller, right? This one, these two are really big. And this one, 500 as well. This is a big one, huh? So these three I would like to focus on. On the expenditure, which one is the bigger one? I think this 843 is very big variances. And what about 630? This one is quite big. Already we have highlighted 5 points. So let's move on. And from non-financials, I mean, we can talk about the P&L as well, the net profit, and this one is interesting. Park visitors have gone down. This one is a good one. Okay, so enough. We have selected enough. So we'll talk about these ones only. So we will talk about, you see what I did? I actually identified and selected the major variances. Always remember the word major variances. The board is always interested in something non-routine, something exceptional, something major. If something is moving as per expectation, something is normal variance, the board doesn't want to spend their time because what's in there to look for, right? This is a skill which comes from practice, that I identified the top three items, top two items from expenses, so that we can talk about those only in our answer. Okay. So let's say the donations and grants, it was 8625, it went down to 7283. 15% reduction. Then there's a wildlife park, shop and cafe. The revenues increased significantly. And there is sale of property which was not there last year. It is there this year. These are the three things. We need to know what happened. Why did donations and grants went down? Why did donation grants legacies went down? I need to hunt for the reason in the exhibit and then how it's gonna impact my business. And then why did Wild Park Shop and Cafe increased? Why? I need to find out the reason and how it's gonna impact my P&L or my business. And why this happened and why this happened and all those things. Do you understand the approach? I'm just looking at the question box. So okay. Why did shop revenue increase when visitors decreased? Very good. Very good. So these are the things which will help you on analysis skills. Something must be given in the scenario where you are actually asking the right questions. I'm really glad you're asking like CFO. Jaisha Khan is saying, I missed the most important 133%. Which one is 133? This one. But the amount is small. As a CFO, I'm more interested in amounts. Okay. You can pick it up, but then you will need to drop something down. So I've gone based on amounts, not on percentages, because materiality is always based on amounts, how it affects your bottom line. Nobody gives a shit about percentages. How much is the profit is more important, right? So legacies, we need to explain why it's gone down. Wildlife park, animal support cost has gone up. Cost of operating a wildlife park has gone down. Ah, that's a good one. No, cost of operating wildlife park, shop and cafe has gone down. And here the revenue from shop and cafe has gone up. The cost of shop and cafe has gone down, which is very good. Like double profit, like revenue is going up, cost is going down, and net income has deteriorated. Wildlife visitors have gone down. Why? Why have our number of visitors? So let's read their annual report. Okay. So annual report is given in which there is a section called review of 2021. This one. Okay. So it says our financial position continues to be challenging. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I would like to use this line because it kind of gives me the sets the tone right, that if you have been asked to uh, analyze the performance, then I would want to use this line. I'll just paste it. Yeah, I will copy it. Our financial performance is challenging. Control C. I'll come here and I will paste it. Next point. Operating a world-class park and animal protection is costly, hence our need for range of income. This year, we reluctantly raised the price of admission to the park for the first time in 5 years. This decision was taken with a view to using the increased revenue to invest in better long-term facilities. Our wildlife park facilities continue to be popular. Where can I use this? They increase the prices of the park in 5 years. Interesting. Let me copy it here. And if I go to my analysis sheet, where is it? This one, spreadsheet. If you see, wildlife park visitor numbers have gone down by 1.9%, or 5,000 visitors have gone down. Why? What could be the reason? We just found the reason that they increased the wildlife entry fee, park entry fees in 5 years. And somewhere in the case, it is mentioned that the economy is not doing well. The economy is going down. It's tight. So if they increase fees, I think the value, the number of customers would go down, right? It went down by 2%. But then what happened to the revenues? Wildlife park admission fees, the revenue has gone up. Although the customers have gone down, the revenue has slightly gone up. Does it make sense? How can a revenue go up if the number of customers have been reduced by 2%? Any logic? Due to increase in, so their volume has gone down by 2%, but because they increased the prices by 5%, I believe the net revenue has gone up by 3%. Interesting. So that's one point. Can we draft it somewhere? So this one is wildlife. Let me just reduce the screen size. Okay, so I would say that the, what is it called? Wildlife Park visitors number. I'll give a heading Wildlife Park visitors numbers. I will say that the visitors numbers have reduced by, let's say, 2% this year. This is due to the fact that we reluctantly raised the price of admissions to the wildlife park for the first time in 5 years. And why did we do that? We can pick it up from here as well. This decision would include the cafe and all those things. I'll just copy paste. This decision was taken with a view of using increased revenue to invest in better long-term facilities. Enough to, did the revenue increased because of the price increase? The revenue from entry fees increased by 3%, even though the number of visitors were lower by 2%. Done. This is something which the board would love. Can you see that? So I explained the wild park, life park visitor numbers and fee income. I killed two birds with the same stone. The visitor numbers have reduced by 2%. This is due to the fact that we reluctantly raised the price of admission for the first time. The decision was taken with a view to using the increased revenue, and because of the price increase, the revenue from entry fees increased by 3%, even though the number of visitors were lower. You are happy with this point? How you link the scenario? This is analysis skills. That as a CFO, it is my job to analyze the numbers and explain what's happening behind the scenes, giving numbers and the business logic. And I linked financials and non-financials. Good, na? Any questions? Let me open the question box. Very nice. Again, it's kind of stuck, but I do hope now it's working. Yeah, now it's working. Can you show the full screen? Okay, sir. Can we say that only high operational variances are chosen? Say to who? You just select on your own. Please ask questions which are relevant to this topic. Do not ask something else right now because I cannot answer that. Are they considered as 2 points? Yes, not really, because the size is a bit small. How will this impact or affect my business? Because the question also says identify the reasons and the impact on us. So do you think increased revenue would definitely, the impact? It will help us, fund, invest in better facilities. But the decrease in number of customers is not a good sign. So we can just write one small paragraph that although the increased revenue would help fund future expansions, but the reduction in number of customers or visitors is not in line with our business mission. Okay, because all businesses, they want to increase the number of customers. They have some targets, right, for wildlife park. Right. What about income from legacies was down on a continuing trend on the past few years, highlighting the volatile nature. Where can I use this one? Income from legacies. So you remember the biggest variance on the revenue side was donations, grant, and legacies. This one, right? It went down by 1.3. The donations, grant, and legacies have gone down. So I can use this sentence to support this. Okay, and also in some background, in some exhibit, I think in overview, it was mentioned that this country is facing a lot of economic issues right now. So donations are going down, legacies are income from legacies are going down, whatever. You can pick from there as well. What about this? We sold one of our properties in the last year and two more will be sold this year to fund the extension of visitor center, which we hope to contribute our objective. So this was again one of the items of revenue that we earned 525 from sale of property. So we will say that this also contributed to the revenue, and the purpose of selling was to fund the visitor facilitation center. However, this is not good. Selling off of property is not good, right? So it does it will affect it will nicely affect our customers because we are expanding and improving our infrastructure, but in long run, selling properties might reduce our financial strength. So we found, what about this park and cafe, like shop and cafe thing? It is somewhere mentioned somewhere in one of the exhibits. So the whole purpose is to show you how you can handle a financial question. Okay. For example, if you, this is the level of drafting which you have to demonstrate in SBL. So it's not this routine variance and variance calculation which you have been doing in other subjects. In SBL, think that you are explaining to the board of directors. They are not interested in calculations. They are more interested in the reasons. So always identify top 3-4 items on the financial statements. Rather than explaining the whole financial, just pick up the material items or exceptional items and draft like this. I will just increase the view so that you can also see very nicely that this is how we mix this and that. Okay, any questions? And now I would like, I'm not going to solve this because of time limitations, but I do want all of you that you can, tomorrow you spend some time on this question. Just focus on the approach. I want to teach you the approach or the mindset required, because case studies will always change. Industries will always change in your exam. But if you know the technique of how to link, how to analyze, how to score professional marks, how to draft, how to present, that is gonna help you pass your paper. Okay, so please try and do 2 or 3 more points, if not the entire question, so that you get familiar with ratio analysis, and how to explain the points. Okay, and now I will take some questions before we end tonight's session. So do we need to show calculations? No. Can we say that only high operational variances? Yes, you are right. We select high. I don't know why it's stuck again. God, I hate this. I do want to hear your questions, and because now it's working. Good, good, good. Come on. It's working now. Excellent. So please focus on the technique and the approach rather than the nitty-gritty of this answer. Okay. Can I talk about the new article? Definitely, yes. I will talk about the new art. I actually talked about it yesterday, and I will talk about it again on the last day. Can we paste general information like you did? Yes, you can. Please, I think you did not attend yesterday's webinar. I spoke about all these things. You can paste information, but then you have to add your own comments on that why did you use this information? Very good, very good. What else? Go on. Again, it's hanging, but it will come to me. Right, let's wait. Okay, now it's coming again. On average, how many hours you should study? I guess like from now onward, 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. How do we ensure that our answer for each question appears on a new page? No, you cannot. So the question is, how do we ensure that our answer on the Word document appears on a new page? There is no way and there is no criteria of new page. You just write the question number and the examiner knows. When is the last time a financial question came? So when is the last time a financial question came? Every attempt. Every attempt has a question on financials because at the end of the day, you guys are ACCA students. So financial is a very important pillar of SBL. Every attempt. Are 5 past papers good to practice? Yes, good enough. I'm just going through some more questions. Again, it's stuck. It gets stuck and then it starts coming. Really bad. All right, guys. I am afraid that we will need to sign out now because it's already overrun, and I would personally complain to ACC office tomorrow first thing in the morning regarding this issue because I so badly want you to ask questions. So I will try and spare some extra time tomorrow so that you can ask your questions which was missed here. Okay. So with that, guys, I would take sign off the class, and till I see you guys tomorrow. Till then, you guys take care and good night. उबैद यार ये बंद करो पूरा हैंग हुआ हुआ है यार I cannot log out.